What is performance appraisal? What is performance? What is appraisal? How often should appraisal takes place? What is performance? What does the term performance actually mean? Employees are performing well when they are productive. Productivity implies both concern for effectiveness and efficiency. Effectiveness refers to a goal accomplishment. However, it does not speak of the cost incurred reaching the goal. That is where efficiency comes in. Efficiency evaluates the ratio of inputs consumed to outputs achieved. The greater the output for a given input, the greater efficiency. In addition to productivity as measured in terms of effectiveness and efficiency, performance also includes personnel data such as measures and accidents, turnover, absences, and tardiness. What is appraisal? Appraisal are judgments of the characteristics, traits, and performance of others. On the basis of this judgment, it assesses the worth or value of other and identify what is good and bad. Appraisal are essential for making many administrative decisions such as selection, training, promotion, transfer, wage and salary administration, etc. So, the real question here is, what is performance appraisal? Performance appraisal or performance review is a systematic process in which employee performance at work is evaluated in relation to the projects on which employee has worked and his contribution to the organization. It is also known as an annual review. Performance appraisal is generally done in systematic ways, which are as follows. The supervisors measure the pay of employees and compare it with targets and plans. The supervisors analyzes the factors behind work performances of employees. And the last is, the employers are in position to guide the employees for a better performance. But to properly evaluate an individual's performance, appraisal of both subjective and objective factors needs to be done. Performance appraisal from employees' point of view. A performance appraisal is meant to help employees realize their strengths and shortcomings and receive a compensation accordingly. Performance appraisal has been defined by different scholars in various ways. Some of the important definitions are as follows. Dale Yoder, according to him, performance appraisal includes all formal procedures used to evaluate personalities, contributions, and potential of group members in a working organization. It is a continuous process to secure information necessary for making correct and objective decisions on employees. While Randall S. Schuller, according to him, performance appraisal is a formal, structured system of measuring and evaluating an employee's job-related behavior and outcomes to discover how and why the employee is presently performing on the job and how the employee can perform more effectively in the future so that the employee, organization, and society all benefit. On the other hand, Hale, according to him, performance appraisal is the process of evaluating the performance and qualifications of the employees in terms of the requirements of the job for which he is employed for purposes of administration, including placement, selection for promotions, providing financial rewards, and other actions which require differential treatment among the members of a group as distinguished from actions affecting all members equally. Performance appraisal process. The assessment process is usually facilitated by human resources who assist managers and supervisors in conducting the individual appraisals within their departments. The following are the performance appraisal process. The first one is an assessment method should be established. The second one is required competencies and job expectations need to be drafted for each employee. The third one is an individual appraisals on employee performance are conducted. The fourth one is a one-on-one interview is scheduled between between the manager and employee to discuss the review. The fifth one is future goals should be discussed between employee and manager. The last one is a sign-off version of the performance review is archived. Appraisal information is utilized by human resources for appropriate organizational purposes such as reporting, promotions, bonuses, or succession planning. How to organize a performance appraisal process. Conducting a performance review with an employee requires skill and training on the part of the appraiser. The negative perception that is often associated with the performance appraisal is due in part to a feeling of being criticized during the process. Because a performance appraisal is meant to provide constructive feedback, it is crucial that appropriate language and behavior are used in the process. Human resources or HR are the support system for managers and supervisors to be trained in tactfully handling the appraisal process. How often should appraisal take place? Performance appraisal in any organization will be done at specific period, like annually or half-yearly or quarterly or maybe regularly. It all depends upon the nature of size of the organization and sometimes necessity of the managers decide the period of performance appraisal of their employees. For example, in a high-technology organization, objectives may be changing quickly so that formal appraisals may need to be carried out more than once a year. Performance appraisal tools, techniques, and methods. There are various methods that are used by managers and employers to evaluate the performance of the employees, but they can be put into two categories: traditional methods and modern methods. There are many ways an organization can conduct a performance appraisal owing to the countless different methods and strategies available. In addition, each organization may have their own unique philosophy, making an impact on the way the performance assessment is designed and conducted. A performance review is often done annually or semi-annually at the minimum, but some organizations do them more often. The following are the tools used by the organizations for performance appraisals of their employees. The following are part of traditional method, including ranking method, force distribution method, critical incident method, checklist and weighted checklist, paired comparison, grading, force choice method, graphic scale method, essay method, field review method, and confidential report. On the other hand, the following are part of modern methods: self-evaluation, behavioral checklist, 360-degree feedback, rating scale, and management by objectives or MBO. First in the list of traditional method is ranking method. Ranking requires the rater to rank his subordinates on overall performance that consists in simply putting a man in a rank order. The advantage of ranking is employees are ranked according to their performance levels, and it's easier to rank the best and the worst employee. While the disadvantage of ranking is the whole man is compared with the whole man in this method. It is very difficult to compare individuals possessing various individual traits. And when a large number of employees are working, ranking of individuals become a different issue. The second one is force distribution method. Raters are required to allocate a certain percentage of rates to certain categories. Example given: superior, above average, and average. The advantage of this method tends to eliminate raters' bias, and the problem of making use of different raters with different skills is avoided. While the disadvantage of this method it may lead low morale, low productivity, and high absenteeism, and employees who feel that they are productive but find themselves in lower grade than expected feel frustrated and exhibit over a period of time. The third one is critical incident techniques. The manager prepare list of statements of very effective and ineffective behavior of an employee. These critical incidents on events represent the outstanding or poor behavior of employees or the job. The advantage of this method is it provides an objective basis for conducting a thorough discussion of an employee's performance and avoid recency bias, while the disadvantage is negative incidents may be more noticeable than positive incidents, and the recording of incidents may be a chore for the manager who may be too busy or may forget to do it. The last one is checklist and weighted checklist. Large number of statements that describe a specific job are given. Each statement has weight or scale value attached to it. The advantage of this method is most frequently used method in evaluation of the employee's performance, while the disadvantage is this method is very expensive and time-consuming, and grade may be biased in distinguishing the positive and negative questions. 5 modern method of performance appraisal. The first one is self-evaluation. Employees first conduct their performance assessment on their own against a set list of criteria. The advantage of this method is it helps employees prepare for their own performance assessment, and it creates more dialogue for the official performance interview. While the disadvantage of this method is the process is subjective and employees may struggle with either rating themselves too high or too low. The second one is behavioral checklist. A yes or no checklist provided against a series of traits. The advantage of this method is the simplicity of the format and its focus on actual work or late tasks and behaviors. While the disadvantage of this method is there is no detailed analysis or detail on how the employee is actually doing, nor does it discuss goal. The third one is 360-degree feedback. Include not just the direct feedback from the manager and employee, but also from other team members and sources. The advantage of this method is it provides a bigger picture of an employee's performance, while the disadvantage is it runs the risk of taking in broad generalizations from outside sources. The fourth one is rating scale, a set of predetermined criteria that a manager uses to evaluate an employee. The advantage of this method is it considers a wide variety of criteria from specific job tasks to behavioral traits, while the disadvantage is possible misunderstanding of what is a good result and what is a poor result. The last one is management by objectives or MBO, involves the employee and manager agreeing to a set of attainable performance goals. The advantage of this method is it creates dialogue between the employee and employer, while the disadvantage is risk overlooking organizational performance competencies that should be considered. Purpose of a performance appraisal. It helps the organization to determine the value and productivity that employees contribute, and it also helps employees to develop in their own roles. Objective of performance appraisal. Performance appraisal can be done with following objectives in mind. The first one is to maintain records in order to determine compensation package, wage structure, salaries, raises, etc. The second one is to provide feedback to employees regarding their performances, and the last one is to identify the strengths and weaknesses of employees.